Around 2,000 people showed up to support the rebuilding of a display supporting Israel and the hostages taken by Hamas on October 7th. The display was vandalized on March 17th and is currently under investigation by the Newton Police Department as a hate crime. The amount of anti-Semitic hate crimes is on the rise in Newton and around the world. Newton police blocked off Homer Street so hundreds could unite to fight anti-Semitism. The reason? On March 17th, the Kozowskis' display supporting Israel and the hostages taken by Hamas was vandalized with spray paint covering the hostages' faces, and Free Gaza was written over a We Stand With Israel sign. This led the Kozowskis to decide either to keep the vandalized signs up or redo them and rededicate them.
We thought that the way that we will avenge this, great, I hope they catch the person and throw the book at him, but our biggest response is by completely turning the tables. I mean, you saw how many people out here. This has gotten more attention, more prayers, more thoughts, more outpouring of emotions for the hostages than the wall alone did, even though it had substantial impact.
3 weeks after the hate crime and exactly 6 months after the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel, the community came together to show their support for Israel and to hope the hostages are set free.
Don't forget them. Don't ignore them. These people have families. These people have children. We need to do everything we can to bring them home. So when you see these posters, your job is not to tear them down or rip them down. Your job is to have compassion and understand how we are all feeling and join us in solidarity.
Speakers in attendance were Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller and U.S. Representative Jake Auchincloss.
Like all Newtonians, members of our Jewish community have the right to feel safe at home and comfortable putting a lawn sign supporting Israel out front. And also in this instance, the faces of hostages on a fence in their front yard.
Today we stand together against anti-Semitism and in solidarity with the hostages and their families. We stand together against the surge in anti-Jewish and anti-Israel hate crimes, nationally and locally. We proclaim with one voice that anti-Semitism and the de-legitimization of Israel have no place in our community. We stand together against the depravity of Hamas, holding innocent men, women, and children hostage for 6 brutal months. We proclaim with one voice that the hostages must be returned immediately and unconditionally.
Ben Spira spoke about when he found out his friend Hirsch Goldberg-Paulin was among the missing.
When my friends and I heard the news about Hirsch, we all thought it was fake. At the very start, there were various news articles being published that all went around saying different things. Some reports said he was missing, others said he had been kidnapped, and even one said he was dead. I was in a state of absolute shock, and I felt like I was living in a dream. On the night I found out, I think I must have spammed his phone and Instagram for hours on end, hoping that he would answer one of my texts or even pick up one of my calls just for a second so that I would know he was okay. That week, I was calling all my classmates, asking if they knew anything else about the situation, only to realize that everyone else was in the same boat as I was. It was hard to comprehend that someone who I'd been hanging out with and having fun with months prior was now being held captive against his will. Imagine one of your friends who you had spent so much time with, talking to them 24/7, just disappeared, and you had no way to tell if they were safe or if they were okay, and you had to live with that thought every single day, going through your daily routine. As time went on and more details emerged, Hirsch's story only inspired me to have more hope that he might one day come back. It had been reported that he had lost his arm while fighting off Hamas terrorists, as when he was hiding inside a bomb shelter, he apparently was throwing back the grenades that were being thrown at him in an attempt to protect everyone else who was also in the shelter with him. If that doesn't say something about the type of hero Hirsch is, then I don't know what does. This conflict has truly affected me as it's hit close to home both figuratively and literally. At my campus at BU, countless hostage posters have been ripped down and torn, and the idea of simply wanting to save innocent victims of terror has somehow become a politicized issue. The fact that vandalism like this could happen both at my college and now in my hometown is maddening.
Children revealed the faces of the hostages while sharing their names, ages, and interesting aspects of their lives.
And we're remembering Ron Broslovsky, 19, selflessly stayed behind at the Nova Music Festival to provide aid to others.
And today we're remembering Yagev Bukhstav, age 34, from Kibbutz Nirim. Yagev loves cars, animals, dinosaurs, and Dr. Seuss books.
The rate of hate crimes has been going up, so how people as a city and a nation go forward is key on what happens next.
I know that I, along with my colleagues in the council, are committed to standing up against hate in any form that it comes in. Statistically, we know, the records show, there's been an increase in anti-Semitic acts over the past year. Any hate crimes, though, against any people need to be called out. So whether it's against Jews, whether against Muslims, whether it's against any groups in Newton, I know that my colleagues on the council and I all feel very strongly to call out those acts when they happen, to stand up against them.
We have to use our voices. I think everyone's too scared to say something, whether it's at work or with their boss. We can't be afraid. Doesn't mean that you have to put a lawn sign on your front yard, but if you hear something, say something. If you know about something, say something. If you need to call the police, call the police. But we can't be silent. That's not an option.
Make sure that all of us, whether elected officials or citizens, that we live up to some of the points that were made today of avoiding double standards. Hate is equally bad against everybody, and we respect everybody's heritage. Whether you're Italian American and you feel affinity with Italy, you're Irish American and St. Patrick's Day. If you're Jewish American, we've got as longer than anybody's affinity with Jewish people, with our religion and the state of Israel. So respect us the way we respect everybody else.
On behalf of the Jewish people, I can say for everyone I've spoken to, all we want is peace. We want to be in peace side by side with our Palestinian neighbors, and we're hoping that there could be a peaceful resolution to this. We're hoping that there'll be an outstretched hand on both sides of peace. We can put all the hate from the years behind us, and we can all come together and make a better world in front of us. I think that's the real hope.
Jen Adams, Newton News, Newton Center.